Hey, yeah, oh, 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 yeah.
You know who I am?
Anything you say. Anything you say.
What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Thomas back again with another rendition of Truth Be Told. Now, this past week, I haven't seen really anything major in the news again. I don't know. Trump set some nuclear subs off the coast of Russia because Putin was making threats or some shit. Other than that, that's the only thing major I saw. Ain't nothing gonna happen. They're just swinging their dicks around. The only other thing that I'm sick of fucking hearing about it, because it's like that's all they want to talk about. All these YouTubers is that fucking Sydney Sweeney bullshit with the whole jeans commercial, whatever. It's dumb. It's retarded. I think, to be personally honest, my theory is that Sydney had her PR people start this shit because, like, she wasn't really that well known at all until this shit started. Now she's blowing up all over the place. I think she got her PR people to start the bullshit, and then the left just latched on and went with it. Then I could be wrong, but I'm just saying, it's just kind of funny that she done like maybe one or two movies, and then all of a sudden she does this ad, and everybody wants to talk shit about her. It's retarded. Now she's blowing up. Everybody knows who she is. And I'm so sick of seeing these simps. These fucking simps. Oh, she's hot as fuck. Blah, 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 blah. That's the only reason why they're attacking. No, she's not. Let's be realistic. All these fucking men need to fucking be honest and come back to reality. On a scale of 1 to 10, she's maybe a 6, maybe, with some decent makeup and fashion. She may be a 7, but she's a decent looking gal, but she's not like super hot. She's just above average. So, stop with the, oh, she's a supermodel, blah, blah. No, she's fucking not. Like I said, she's a decent looking gal, but she's not that good looking at all. Come on. She is a mid. Plain and simple. But anyways, I'm so tired of seeing that crap. Like I said, I think she got that shit started. I mean, it may be negative publicity, but because it's so negative, it's blowing up because the left latched onto that shit. A lot of your feminists and crap, and they blew her name up, so they helped her. Whoever her PR person is a genius. You got her known. Now everybody knows who she is, even though nobody knew who she was until this fucking ad came out. Anyways, whatever. Let's get on to talk about what I really want to talk about this week. Let's finish off the series called Monsters, which is like late 80s, early 90s. An anthology series. This is the last of it, so I'll be done. We'll be done with the Monsters series after this. So we are on season 3, episode 17. I'll see better without my glasses. When I read. uh, number 17, episode 17 is called Leavings. And basically, you just have a couple of cops. One of them is played by Tony Shalhoub. And like I said, you got some celebrities by after a few seasons. You'll get a celebrity every now and then. Anyways, it's about two cops who keep running across like homeless people that have no limbs, like they're missing an arm or leg or something. They bring this one guy in who's missing 2 arms, and they try to get him to talk about who's taking all the people's limbs and shit. They bring in their supervisor, and he don't think it's strange. Instead, he's like, you know what? We's advocating to add you to a secret force. Why don't you come with me? So he takes him to this back room, and there's a cop back there, and he's all stitched up like Frankenstein or whatever. Apparently, there's this secret criminal organization within the police department where they're stealing body parts and making Frankensteins and shit like that. It's weird. It's a weird episode. It's kind of dumb. But they're the next 2 victims, the 2 cops he brought in here. Number 18 was called Desirable Alien. Basically, all it is that even though he looks, I'm not sure if he's supposed to be Italian. I think he's Italian. You have this guy who's begging this social worker, to push his paperwork through so he can become an American citizen. We'll come to find out he's a satyr, or a satyr, not satire, a satyr, and he has these powers to induce lust in women. Well, he kind of overdoes it with this woman. She gets it to where he has to marry her and shit and blah blah blah. It's really a dumb episode. It's dumb. The 19 is called A Face for Radio. You have this late night DJ, he's kind of a dickhead, on the radio, and he brings in this good looking woman, and she's trying to tell him, he wants a true story about her, supposedly, about her knowing about aliens or whatever. We'll come to find out she's actually an alien. She brings in this little creature that's supposed to be like the alien, but what it is it's a person who's been drained of their life force or whatever, and they become this little gooey monster kind of creature. He says, yeah, I'll prove it, do it to me, blah blah blah, and she does. The next one is number 20. It's called Werewolf of Hollywood. Basically, you have a screenwriter who wants to be a director. He doesn't want to screenwrite anymore, and his boss is a werewolf, and his boss don't want him to be. It wants him to keep writing, and then they fight. He ends up killing him with silver. But come to find out, the assistant is also a werewolf. There's a whole bunch of them in Hollywood, blah blah blah, and she ends up killing him. That's the end of the story. 21 is Talk Nice to Me. You have a guy, he's kind of a womanizer, and he's getting these prank phone calls, or what he thinks is prank, or a stalker, some type of woman is stalking him by calling him constantly and telling him about himself. And he's like, how do you know all this shit about me? Leave me alone, blah, blah, blah. And finally he just gives in and says, won't we meet, blah, blah, blah. He wants to know who this is. And she says, great. And then this little monster pops out of the telephone. I was just like, this is so dumb. Anyways, moving on. Number 22 is called Hostile Takeover. You have this guy, he's very successful and becoming like a businessman. He's taking over companies constantly, and he's a dick about doing it. Well, come to find out, he's been going to this voodoo priestess who been doing magic spells for him to do this. But he later finds out that he's being watched and set up and groomed by a demon who ends up taking him and his soul. And then number 23 is called The Maker. You have this like homeless guy. He comes to crash in this abandoned motel room, and in a an abandoned hotel or whatever. Anyways, he goes in there and he sees this other guy who's an alcoholic, an old man, but the old man can create things like out of thin air. He's got like godlike powers. And he tries to convince him he's got to stop drinking alcohol because every time he creates something, it's not quite what it's supposed to be. Like he says, give me money, and he gives him money, but it all has his face on it, and it says in so and so we trust instead of in God we trust. So he's all like, well, stop the alcohol and maybe it'll be better. But the guy's like really mental. So, when he tries to stop the alcohol, it just makes he starts conjuring up nightmares instead, like monsters and shit. So he gets him back on the alcohol. And then he comes to find out that he's not even real. Like the homeless dude that came into the motel or hotel, he's not real. He's a creation of the old man. So, anyways, that's that one. And then the last one. Okay, the last one is called The Moving Finger, number 24. And I'm telling you right now, this one is fucking weird. Like, he goes in his bathroom, he sees this little finger poking up out of his toilet, and he goes trying to flush it down the toilet. Eventually he can't get it. They keep attacking each other. The finger attacks him and gets bigger and longer, and then he finally says fuck it, and he goes and gets a chainsaw, not a chainsaw, but one of those knife cutting chainsaw thing, electric blade or whatever. He goes in there like cutting these fingers or whatever that keeps popping up out of his toilet and sink, and there's blood all over the place. And this female cop shows up and says, we've been getting, oh my gosh, she sees the bathroom, telling him they've been getting calls and shit. She goes to arrest him. He goes nuts. He's insane. And then he feeds the fingers to her, or feeds her to the fingers, and they eat her and shit. And it was weird. It made no sense. Anyways, that's the end of the TV show Monsters. Now, there's several other anthology series that I've got to get to and get them done. Like, there's The Outer Limits, Twilight Zone, Night Gallery. I'm just doing the ones that are fairly well known. The Darks, Tales from the Dark Side, Tales from the Crypt. There's several anthology series. I'll eventually get around to doing some of the others, but I'm really backed up with a lot of TV shows that I need to get done and reviewed. I told you that in earlier videos. The problem is that I keep watching these, TV shows that have like one season. So I'm burning through them pretty quickly and getting backed up. I need to start watching something that's got at least 5 seasons in it or something, so I'm not like binge watching like one season. Anyways, that's it for that show. Let's get on to your B movie reviews. And Monsters, I mean, it's okay. I give it thumbs up, thumbs down. There's some episodes that are really cheesy, that make no sense, and a lot of them are shot like on a stage, like they look like a soap opera type of, view or whatever. When you're watching it, they look like a soap opera kind of feel. But check it out if you want. Like I said, let's get on to your B movie reviews. Okay, Movieaholics, this week is Sci-Fi Week. And we have a couple of 80s flicks. And the first one is called Flight of the Navigator. It was done by Disney. Why can't Disney make films like this anymore? Like, I'll go back and I'll watch something like this, a couple of times or whatever, every so many years, Like, I've seen this one probably about 3 times now over the years, since I was a kid. This was done in 1986, and it made about 18 million worldwide. And it starred Joey Kramer and Sarah Jessica Parker. Now, basically the story is the kid, he's like 12 years old. He goes to go find his brother through the woods. He ends up falling down a little ravine. He wakes up and it's been like 8 years later. So he's supposed to be like, I don't know, like 20 some years old now, but he's not. NASA gets involved because the parent, when he's found, somebody else is in his house because it's been 8 years. The police department located his parents. They're all older. His little brother is now older than him. Like I said, NASA, because of that, NASA gets involved. NASA finds a spacecraft, and they take it back to one of their hangars to study. When they find out about the boy, they realize he's connected somehow to the spacecraft. He's putting out star charts and all kinds of crap without even knowing he's doing it. He later eventually finds out he's I got a couple notes here. He later finds out that he's what's called the Navigator. The ship's calling him Navigator. Basically, he got downloaded a bunch of crap in his head for navigation. Why the ship does this, it doesn't explain. Now, what I thought was funny was, when the ship kind of calls him mentally. When he goes to the ship, there's nobody there. Like nobody around the ship studying it or whatever. Everybody's like taking a break or some shit. So he's just able to walk up in there, walk right on into the ship. Like, really? There's a robot that helps deliver mail and food and shit, and it's huge. It's a big robot. Looks like about the size of a big dog, or maybe bigger. And it's just kind of convenient that it's empty and it's big enough for him to fit in, so he can sneak out of the room they're watching and go all the way to the hangar that the spaceship is in. It was a little too convenient. But like I said, he gets in the spaceship, right? And he starts calling the spaceship Max, because there's like this huge name for Max, which is narrated. The voice for Max is Paul Reubens, the late Paul Reubens, Pee Wee Herman. But he goes by a different name in the title sequence. I don't know why they did that, but whatever. Anyways, he's flying around the ship, just messing around with it, trying to figure out what's going on. Max downloads his brain so he can have all the star charts, and he tells him he would have taken him back to his own time, because apparently you travel through space a long distance and you come back and years will go by if you're traveling faster than light. But anyways, he told him he would have taken him back to his own time, but it was too dangerous. Well, towards the end of the movie, he's just like, I don't belong here. They're going to constantly come after me and probe me and blah, blah, blah. So he decides to take the risk to go back to his own time. And Max does. He takes him back to his own time. And that's pretty much the end of the movie. There is a spot in the movie where Max says, well, you're an inferior race and you only use 10% of your brain, which we all know that's a myth. It's kind of funny when people still bring that up, we only use 10%. No, actually we use our entire brain. It's a myth. It's been proven. So anyway, I thought that was kind of funny. Now I think, honestly, at the end of the movie, they should have shown him like, he knows a little bit of the future, and he knows that, because Sarah Jessica Parker tells him he's cute and all that and blah blah blah, so I think he should have gone, they should have shown something where he knows, where she's going to be at when he gets older, and he kind of hooks up with her, when he gets to 20 years old. He gets the girl at the end. But anyways, Yeah, Disney can't make movies like this anymore. This is a really good movie. It's family oriented, but it's also a really good sci-fi tale story. I thought it was great. Like I said, Disney just they can't. The writers they got at Disney right now, they suck ass, and they can't write worth a shit. So it's all a bunch of feminist, Gen Z, stupid millennial, early millennial idiots that don't know how to write. But anyways, this is 2 thumbs up. I really wouldn't call it a B movie. It's more of an A-lister, to be honest. Let's get on to. I highly recommend it, by the way, if you want some good sci-fi. Even though it's a little kiddie, family, it's still a really great movie. Let's move on to your next one. The next one I did was called Batteries Not Included. This is a Steven Spielberg film, so it's probably going to be pretty good. It was done in 1987, and it made about 65 million worldwide, which was pretty good for back then. It starred Hume Cronin and Jessica Tandy. That's the old couple in the movie. You had several other actors in there, but they're the main ones. Like I said, this is still Steven Spielberg, so you know it's probably going to be pretty. His heyday was the 80s and early 90s. The story is you have this tycoon tyrant business guy. He wants to build like this huge kind of like skyscraper buildings in this old I'm not sure what city they were in. I think they were in New York, but I could be wrong. But he's wanting to tear down all these old buildings, and one of them happens to be this diner with hotel combination. The hotel's on the top and the diner's at the very bottom. And the old couple, Jessica Tandy and Hume, they own the place. Anyways, he's got this, I don't know, Latino dude. He's trying to harass him and get all these people to move out of this place so they can tear it down. And none of the tenants want to move. One older couple does move out, but the rest of them all stay. While they're fighting about it, these little tiny spaceships, they show up and they start fixing things for them. Like the Latino dude that's harassing him, he breaks a bunch of stuff, and the spaceships fix it all for him. Apparently the little tiny mothership, she's giving birth. She needs a lot of electricity, and they're like sucking the juice out of the building so she could give birth, which she does. She gives birth to 3 little tiny flying saucers or machines or whatever, alien machines. 2 of them seem to be functioning okay. The third one is not. Well, there's a big black dude who used to be like a boxer or some shit back in the heyday. He takes them, kind of fixes them up, and then now you got 3 of them running around. The Latino dude shows up again because the big boss man wants that building down. So he goes in there to destroy stuff. But he made other plans with an arsonist, and this arsonist comes in there, starts a fire, burns the building down, and then the little space aliens or whatever, spaceships or whatever, they take off, but they come back and they bring a whole fleet of them with them, and they repair the building to like when it was brand new, and that's pretty much the end of the movie. They leave, and the building stays, and the evil business tycoon builds all around the building and leaves that little building where it's at, right smack dab in the middle of all these skyscrapers. And that's, like I said, that's the end of the movie. Done. It's a good movie. I liked it. Again, it's kind of family oriented. Because it's a little family of robotic spaceships that are real tiny, about the size of a plate or dish. It was okay. It wasn't bad. Really good movie. It's Steven Spielberg. 2 thumbs up. I highly recommend it if you're looking for a decent sci-fi with a good story, heartwarming story. This is definitely one you should watch. Definitely check it out. Alright, let's move on to your... Man, they just can't make movies like this anymore. All these writers with these new shows and movies, they all suck. They're terrible. I don't like most of the new crap. Anyways, moving on. That's all I have for you this week. Definitely check those out. If you have any thoughts about what I talked about earlier in the video, please leave your thoughts down in the comment section down below. I'd love to hear from you. If you can think of any underrated, might have passed my radar, something I may never even have seen before, super B-rated movie, any genre, I don't care, as long as it's not drama driven. Please leave your suggestions down in the comment section down below, and I'll get to reviewing them as soon as I can. So until next time, I told you you'd be told the truth, and you just been told.